Hey guys, we're back out here on the farm again, and just wanted to emphasize to you guys that this is going to be literally a diary of everything that I'm doing on this 40-acre property. I may put up a few things of a few other properties that I'm working on that people have asked me to do, or friends or whatever, give you a little insight onto a few different places, but I want to primarily focus on this farm. Like I say, I have had access to this farm for years, but never been able to do any work. So the management and the habitat, the logging and everything that I'm getting ready to do, I want you guys to be a part of. And I want you to see what we do and how we do it. Right now I'm walking in, and this is all fairly thick right through here. But I want to get down here. I want to show you guys the interior food plot. I want to show you some of the plans that we have for this place, show you how thin it is, and then I'll come back and I'll give you another video after the logging's done and kind of show you how much it has thickened up and what the results are from that. And as you follow along over the next year or so, hopefully we see some improvement in not only deer numbers, but size. So we'll see what transpires here, but right now I just want to give you guys a good overview of what the property looks like currently before we've done anything. Well, here we are. We're back at the top food plot, what will be the two top food plots. Like I say, this is going to have giant miscanthus all the way through there and be completely encapsulated, also going around there. And I'm going to tie it into this pipeline, which I can show you here in just a minute. But what I really wanted you guys to see is as you leave this food plot area and you start to head into the timber, now this is a trail, so obviously it's going to be thin, but if you look, it's relatively thick down in here, but the further this way you go, the more it begins to thin out. And you can actually see, if you look close, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but there's actually a road over there, a highway. And as you look over there, you can see cars pass by. You can see the farmer's field on the other side over in here. That is not ideal. The big bucks, they do tend to like this thicker area, and they do come in here, but it's right on the property line. So my goal is to pull them in more to the interior of my property rather than keeping them on the outskirts. But as you look down through here, there are a few thick spots. There are some places that have grown up, and you know, the sunlight has gotten in and really established a base on the floor of the woods. But for the most part, it is pretty thin, and the deer just I don't think they're going to feel comfortable coming out into this wide open food plot if they don't have any cover. So hopefully with the giant miscanthus, we'll be able to provide that for them. And then, like I say, the logging is definitely going to provide a lot of sunlight to the forest floor and allow the ground to flourish and really take off, as well as provide some more food for them. So let's head over to the pipeline. I'll show you that over there. The plan up here is this path will be planted with giant miscanthus on both sides. So I want to leave a walkway in between it to create a screen. Again, that giant miscanthus will divide this field and this field into two separate food plots. These will also be somewhat encapsulated with the giant miscanthus. So you're basically building a fence around the entire thing. If I spin around here, you'll be able to see, if you look down the pipeline, I'm going to do the same thing down this side and this side of the woods and plant the giant miscanthus right up against the wood line, so that way we can walk this middle area to get in. There again, creates a full screen for access, and it's still going to give us a really good screen to where we don't bust anything out. We're able to get in pretty well undetected, I think. Makes it seem a little bit thicker than it is. So let me get down here. I'll show you the interior food plot, what we're thinking there, and then take you over on the opposite side of the woods and show you where we're headed with that. So you guys have heard me talking about logging this woods. Throughout these videos, any trees that you see with these blue marks on them, those are the trees that are being logged. So those are the ones that we're taking down. Right behind this, you can see that is the interior food plot. I'll give you a closer look here in a minute. But when it comes to logging, we're doing a selective cut. So we're actually taking 207 trees out of basically a 30-acre woods. If you do the math on that, that's actually less than 7 trees per acre. So everybody thinks that, like, oh my gosh, it's a crazy number of trees, like I'm not going to have woods left. Well, that's not true. When you're talking less than 7 trees per acre, you're barely going to notice the trees that are gone and the cover that it provides, because when this tree is cut, all that gets left on the ground, and it opens that entire canopy for new growth to thicken things up, make it nastier, and make the big boys want to stay here more frequently, because in reality, as deer hunters, that's what we want. Everybody wants to chase a big buck. Well, you can only chase a big buck if there's one there to chase. So that's what we're trying to do. And I think you guys will see by the time we're done with this, it's not near as invasive as you might think. So let's get down to the food plot. I'll show you that. So this is our little interior plot. I saw a lot of deer on this plot this year, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I didn't think that I would, because I didn't even plant this until I think September 15th is when I actually planted this. Highly recommend Domain seed products. They are fantastic. Their soil conditioner obviously worked really well. Like I say, this was planted September 15th. And if you look over here, the growth, where it's not covered by leaves, even where it is covered by leaves, I mean, that stuff looks pretty good. And this was their Hot Chick mix. I did put their soil conditioner down first, but I mean, that stuff looks pretty darn good. And like I say, for this plot, being that I have a creek right here, I'm actually going to run some drain tile in here, just like one run, just to dry it out a little bit. There's a little bit of a bowl right here. So I'm gonna run just a single little run of 4-inch perforated drain tile, run it into the creek, and hopefully be able to dewater this a little bit better that way. That way it's not just laying wet. And then come back in, and I'm going to overseed it in like March. And again, that's going to be with the Hot Chick from Domain. If you look, there's actually a pretty good rub right here on the edge of this plot. And I will actually post a video right down here. I actually had a buck that I've named Stickers. He's a 3.5-year-old, really nice, probably, I think he's a mainframe 10, probably 150-inch buck, and I elected to let him walk this year, being that I had a 170 to chase after. So, but there again, if you look up in there, you can see the blue marks on the trees. There's just a couple walnuts right here. We actually have elected to take a couple of others here. There's a blue ash right here that is overhanging the food plot, blocking a lot of sunlight, as well as this oak right here. So we're going to take those. And then there's a couple walnuts back in here and a couple over there. So once we get those out of here, there should be even more sunlight, and allow this food plot to be able to really take off. This food plot, like I say, for planting it late, didn't think it would do very well, and it actually did far better than I would have anticipated. So highly recommend Domain seed products, and I would definitely use any of their stuff, and I will continue to for years to come. One other thing I wanted to mention is where this food plot sits. Being that it is in the interior of the woods, there's actually a thicket right here. It's not very big, but it is fairly thick. Hunts really well during the rut, so that's going to be cool. We're going to kind of let that go, maybe do a little bit of hinge cutting and stuff in there, thicken it up even more than it already is. But I want to take you guys over and show you where we're planning on putting a bedding area, to hopefully be able to keep the bucks here a little bit closer, so that they don't venture onto the neighbors quite as often. So I'll catch you over there. All right, guys, so we're more in the heart of the woods now. From where we were, the interior food plot's right down there. So what the plan is you see that blue mark on that shagbark hickory right there? It's coming down. There's a few others through here that are coming down. And what we want to do is, if you see this little drainage right here, that little draw runs all the way down and almost dead ends into the opening that leads to the food plot. So what I want to do is I actually want to create this into a bedding area, put all the treetops, everything, just trash it up, do some hinge cutting, that kind of thing. Just make it a little bit more appetizing to the bucks to be able to stay here. There is buck sign around it. This area has held bucks pretty decent in the past, but I just don't feel like there's enough cover. I mean, if you look around, look how thin it is. I mean, you can see the neighbor's house over there. So, I mean, it is very, very thin, very sparse, and I just need to get some more sunlight in here to be able to get them comfortable with being here. And I feel like if we can accomplish that over the next few years, then it's going to pay off in spades. So there's a little rub there, not huge, not gigantic, not a massive tree, but it's something. And that tells us that, you know, there are bucks through here. This is definitely an area that we need to turn some attention to. So why not? If they already like it, let's make them love it. So that's the plan. There again, you see some more blue marks on some other trees. This area is going to get thick, 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 and we are going to keep you posted, updated, and you'll be able to see what it looks like when it's all finished. So let's go over to the side where the neighbor's house is, and I'll show you what the plan is there. All right, guys, we're over here on the north side of the property. You see a tree that snapped off right here. The neighbor must have dealt with, because there's no way it didn't take his fence down. But you can see they have an electric fence. That's great. So that creates a natural barrier for deer. It's actually going to funnel them back into this corner back here, which is going to funnel them right into my property, which is fantastic. The only problem is accessing it. More and more I've become a big believer in hunter access, and so what I did is I worked out a deal with the logger, and I said, hey, look, if you guys are going to log this, could you please make me a path? And they said, sure. How do you want it? So what I told them, the house is up there and there's an entry down there, a path that comes into the woods. So what I told them is, I want a trail straight through here, and I want you to pile all the debris on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a fence basically and a screen with down trees. So anything that they drop, any of the treetops, anything on this side, we're actually going to leave in a line and just run it right down this side, and then that will create a path for us to be able to walk in here. We can cut breaks in it wherever we want to be able to get into a stand or into a stand location, and cut those breaks in it, be able to access it, but it will also conceal us when we walk in. So I think this is going to work out really well. This is probably the part that I'm most excited about, because this end has always been really, really, really hard to access, just because of the fact that, again, if you look through this woods, it is very, very, very mature, and all the trees are spaced out. It's just too thin. They can see it from a mile away. They can literally, you guys probably can't see it, but I can see my house from here, and I'm all the way on the back of the 40 acres. So there again, I think just thickening it up, adding some cover, not just for the deer, but for us to be able to access, is huge. All right, guys, so we're back up on top. I know I keep showing you this box blind and it seems repetitive, but I'm just trying to make it so that you guys can get your bearings about you when it comes to visualizing all of this. So the reason I wanted to show you this is because I still haven't showed you the lower food plot. So there's the pipeline that we discussed that we're planting giant miscanthus. So that's going to come down this path again, and then that is also going to come down the side of this bank, and I'm going to leave about 5 feet of width between the miscanthus and that dam, the pond bank right there, the backside of the pond bank. That's going to give us access from up there. So if you look up there where that post is, that'll be where our access is. We'll be able to come in behind the giant miscanthus and access that. And then back here behind the pond, I'm actually going to split it off. So you'll have a run going this way, and you'll have a run going this way, and you'll also have one going around this backside of the pond. There again, leaving 5 feet of width that we can mow with a riding lawnmower and be able to access this backside of the woods back here. Now, I only own a sliver of that. I mean, it's very, very, very minuscule, but there is an ag field out here. So deer typically will come through this timber and then go through that corner and out into that ag. I'm hoping these food plots slow them down a little bit, but we'll see what transpires. So this is all going to be soybeans. And then, like I say, the divide of the giant miscanthus down this green strip where that divide is, this will be Austrian peas, oats, and rye, I believe. I'll keep you updated on that when we get to planting, once we get to that point. And then if you spin around and look down here, this is the lower food plot that I was talking to you about. So that lower food plot is all going to be radishes. And there again, miscanthus down here along the pond bank, and then down and along the side of that tall grass right there. There is grass there, so obviously it is providing some cover, but just not enough. I just want to be able to create more of a barrier. And if you look, then the tree line actually extends out into this field a little bit and kind of naturally encapsulates it. This down here lays wet, and there's cattails in there, so I'm not sure that I'll need the miscanthus over there. If I have enough, I may just go ahead and plant it anyway, just so that it's just added security. But there's actually there's actually a little cedar tree right there on the corner that I found. It's just a little sapling, and decided to leave that. Hopefully that grows up and the bucks get to rubbing on it, and that would be cool. Just kind of a cool little pet project on your property. I don't know, why not? So but yeah, this will all be radishes. And then I do, speaking of trees, I do want to do some transplanting. I actually have a couple dogwoods that have volunteer dogwoods that are right in there. I actually would like to find some more of those, be able to transplant them. The amount of money that you can save on your own piece of ground is amazing, because you can go and find these little, you know, dogwoods or cedars or whatever, dig them up, transplant them, put them where you want. So you can do a lot if you have your own property. This is going to be the radish plot. All right, guys, so that's that. Hopefully it made sense to you. Hopefully I gave you enough to be able to, you know, orient yourself with the aerial view and kind of figure out, you know, where you're at, what it looks like. Hopefully you can put yourself in my shoes and be able to visualize not only what it looks like now, but what I'm trying to do, the end goal. So hopefully that helps. We're gonna keep going on this thing. Like I say, this is going to be the only property that you will see in this series. So make sure you stay tuned. We're finally getting to work, and we're gonna keep on working as long as the weather allows it. So we're gonna do what we can do, and we have a ton of work to get done, but I will bring you guys along the way, and you'll be able to see every inch of it. So till next time, appreciate it. Oh, and as a side note, I forgot to mention, make sure you subscribe, because it's going to be a series. You'd want to stick around. This thing could take 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows how long it could be. But I'm going to show you some big bucks, hopefully, and you're going to see some improvement and see what happens. So make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow along, and you don't want to miss an episode. I promise you we're going to do some awesome stuff with this place. You're not going to recognize it in a couple years. So I definitely think it'll be worth the follow. So make sure, subscribe, turn on your alerts, stick with us.